In today's video, we're going to get transparent and go through info and coaching vanity metrics. So the difference is when someone says we made 70 million, we're valued at 70 million. We did 70 million in profit and we took home 70 million. All of these mean different things, right? So we are going to get transparent and go through the different ones, what feeds into each one. And then I'm going to go through some exact examples of our numbers here across all of these. All right. If you stick around to the end, I'm going to share yesterday's stats. I make these videos every day. So I'm going to share the different buyers, cash collected, all the things. Last year, we did 30 million in cash collected. I share everything that did work, what did not work, and what we are actively doing to scale to 100 million with the goal of finding top talent, opportunities, and network. So let's get into it. So this is huge in make money online space, info market, just in general. And the biggest thing is like saying we made 70 million, like we're doing that right now, right? I'm throwing these videos up and saying we made it. What I mean by that versus what somebody else says and means by that can be completely different. And then some of these are just like non-negotiables. Like this is what that means. All right. So we're just going to get straight into it. But I just want to clear things up for everyone on like what a thumbnail or a title or whatever. I have a kid designing and writing mine. Sometimes I cringe at them, but like is what it is. So valuation, first off, almost nobody has a valuation in info, coaching, whatever. Like they always say like, show me the LOI, show me the letter of intent, show me the actual like wire transfer that you got purchased. Because there are people who have sold for 2 million, 10 million, like Hormozy. I don't want to like categorize them as info and coaching because there's licensing when they did the gym launch deal, but that was like 50 something million of it. So there's like deal structures and all this type of stuff. Overall, to say 99.9% of info and coaching businesses, especially the ones like you hear about, do not sell. They're cash flow businesses. Okay. So that's the first thing. But an example of somebody who does have a valuation is WAP, right? So like they just raised the last round, like 800 million, I believe was the last one, with like Bain Capital and like money transferred, moved hands, right? Like there are multiple ownerships. Like it is a VC style company. Info and coaching does not generally get into that realm. And in order to do so, I could talk about this forever, but like what would we need to do, for example, in order to sell 92 different things that we're not doing now, right? And like that's a whole nother ballgame. Most people don't say like, oh, we're valued at, right? But this is a big one, revenue. So people will say we made, I like this one because it's like, it's kind of vague. It's like we made. You made what? Like you took it home, you did it in total payment plans, you did it in cash. Like what is the number? So revenue is going to be, as an example, you sell a $7,200 product, okay? Now you have two different payment plan options. One of them is $4,100 today and $4,100 in 3 months, or $297 for like 3 years. Like people do different crazy stuff. But when you say someone will be like, oh yeah, we did $1 million last month in revenue. And what actually happened was everyone signed up for pay plans. They collected 40% of that cash up front. And the goal is like that they are going to collect the other, the rest of the $1 million over time throughout payment plans. So you have like collection issues sometimes. Like there's plenty of issues that can happen with that where revenue is not real dollars. Like ideally you can pay your bills with revenue, but you can't. You pay it with cash on the cash collected side. Okay, so like this one's a little gray area. I don't even directly like we do in our books, but like I don't even directly track this in any of our stuff. But I'll go through some examples down here. Cash collected, this is just like real cash that came in, right? And there's actually things that come and pull down from this, but cash collected is, the Stripe you see, right? Like Stripe doesn't show the revenue that you had and like invoice. I mean, I guess it could in other screenshots and stuff of like pending invoices and all of that and future pay plan, MRR stuff. But like cash collected is cash collected. So when I share, we made 70 million in ours. So like this is 30.5 million in cash collected of last year, right? Of 2024. So like, this is money hitting the checking account, kind of, right? It is that you had however many thousands of customers at 3K a pop or whatever. Like that's the money hitting, okay? Now, another quick thing on this is timelines. So like I just said, we did 30 million last year. If I make a video and it says, oh, we made 70 million, 70 million for us is what we cash collected of all time so far, right? We're at like 71 almost now, I believe. But, it's all time. So different people will be like, oh yeah, we did like this is how I made $25 million. Or there's a big difference between last year we did 4 million. Like that's a different thing. So for us, last year was our biggest year, 30 million in cash collected. But in total, we have cash collected through that Stripe account, almost $71 million. Okay. Next, net cash collected. Now this is huge because fees are big and refunds, depending on how you run your business, are big. So for us, we have like a lot of refunds that we have pushed through. So we are extremely liberal about this. And if someone is not a good fit, if they join and get buyer's remorse and, you can't have like a simple win back, anything charged back, doesn't even matter. Like we're just like, get out of the community, get out of the product. Here's your money back. Goodbye. Okay. So fees you pay on the way in. So whatever your number is, 2.73, 2.5, depending on what you pay for your processor. So fees going in, and then the refunds, you have money going out plus fees again to go back out. So this is actually like a pretty high line item for us. So call it like 8 to 10% ish, depending. And this has just gotten better for us actually over time. But like we have literally refunded like $5 million, maybe a little more. So like cash collected minus this stuff is huge. Same thing with when you pay your sales reps, same thing with when you break that out. Gross profit, contribution to overhead, whatever you want to call it. This is direct costs. And like different businesses and tons of different industries and like sectors use different things here, but essentially it's like your cost of goods. It's like what directly happened. So for us, let's call it just fulfillment costs. So on average, you're going to pay your coach in a service style business under 20%, depending. You have group, you have one-to-one, you have all these different things, but like call it 20%. So if you did 10 million in cash collected, like on average, you're going to have 20%. And that's the crazy part. It's like some people, okay, so is it off revenue that you're doing the 20%? Is it off cash collected? Is it off at net? So like these different things mean different things and you need to know your numbers for that. So 20% goes to a coach or a, community manager or whatever, like that's high, but like it can be lower obviously, but that's usually what is included in direct costs, usually. And like you could justify at some level being like, okay, well the sales rep is on the new side and it like was the cost to get, and like Hormozy used an example of that. Like what did it cost to acquire the customer in total? It was like, and answer like what was the total number of contribution to overhead? The total number of contribution to overhead is cash collected came in, you paid ads, you paid a sales rep, you paid a sales manager, and it's going to cost $1,000 or whatever, or 15% of that cash to a coach to fulfill on it. And it's like after all that, what number hits the overhead for the rest of the company for like the admin side of the company that then after that hits the bottom line. Okay. So like you can kind of put these in different things. It's like an income statement ish. But like what breaks off as you go. So not a ton of people are using this metric and just being like, oh yeah, our contribution to overhead. Like you're not going to hear that in YouTube videos or like thumbnails, but it's a thing. Tacos. This is a fun one or a funny one and shows in a ton of different like buy business online stuff. Like it's a metric in like the online investment banking ish style thing, but it is total advertising cost of sale. So it's new ROAS more or less. So it's like if it costs you $3 to get a sale for $9 new, not including recurring, active, whatever. I mean, total advertising cost of sale is going to be like the total blended of the whole company. And like people use it versus new versus all time. So like, just make sure there's a known thing there. But why I say this is because traffic sources acquisition, like that style, can completely swing this. So like you have to objectively look at a company or a person or what they're sharing and be like, and understand that. So like Iman's, for example, like his is so much organic that yes, he pays a team and like production and all that, but like in terms of per unit acquisition through ads, he like doesn't really have that. So he's like, oh yeah, I did 70% margins or whatever on 70 million. Like that's insanity in comparison to like our model because we're almost all paid ads. So someone who runs with, a low tacos is going to have more money that drops to the bottom line because they spend less on ads per acquisition, if any. So like the organic guy's crushing this. And it's good to know when you're watching somebody who's cranking ads, us as an example, I'm like, I'm calling this out, versus somebody who has this massive organic following, they're going to drop more money to the bottom line. Makes sense when I say it like that, but like sometimes it doesn't. So net income profit, this is basically everything down to the bottom line except taxes. Okay, so your company brings in 10 million, does all these different things, and after everything is paid except your taxes, you have $1 million, and that $1 million is what you pay taxes on. So people will say like, oh yeah, we did 5 million in profit, and like that question is like, okay, cool. Was that ever? Was that last year? Was that last month? And the other thing with like months and years and quarters and whatever, a lot of people are going to talk in monthly numbers, which is like all good and dandy. I mean, you can talk about whatever you want. Like I don't care, but it has nothing to do with me. But monthly, a lot of the time is more volatile. It also makes sense for like newer companies, like, or newer offers. So, you're like, oh yeah, we did 200 grand last month. It's like, okay, we might only be 6 months in, or maybe you're 2 years in. And so I say, oh, cool, we made 70 million in cash collected, or we made 70 million, which is kind of gray area. And I understand that. But it's like, we did 70 million cash collected, not revenue, not profit, right? And it could be taken as that. And I understand that. And that is the line I walk. But the net income take home profit the monthly amounts vary so much, and a lot of time they don't have a year under the belt or something like that, or 2 or 5 years or whatever. So yeah, just a quick note on that. Now after that, everything but taxes then falls into partners. So a lot of the info and coaching guys, this is not relevant for because they don't have partners, or maybe they have like a small growth partner. Like our example, we do. We have multiple of us that are in there. So if your company takes home $1 million, it gets split. And the examples I'm going to use here is half, which is not our actual model, but like I don't want to share our partners' numbers because that's not fair. So piece of the pie is like, okay, cool, you guys did $1 million. Now each person gets their 500 basically as income to self, or their company that breaks out or whatever. But let's call it that. Take home. After that number, taxes. Big. So you'll see all the guys living in Dubai. You'll see people living inside the states inside the United States in different states based on like income brackets. So like, the no state income tax states, your Nevadas, your Floridas, your Texas, stuff like that. I lived in Puerto Rico for the last 3 years, so I had a 4% corporate tax and 0% distribution or whatever, like personal. So on every 100K or million or whatever, like on every million, you'd only pay 40,000 in taxes, which is also vague and not true because you have every fee in the world and this and that and percentages, and you pay yourself normal on that. And then just other stuff that bakes in, but like it's obviously way less than if you're living in the States or other places in the world, Canada, example. The Dubai guys pay, I don't know, I saw something the other day that said it was 9 now on corporate, but I think it's 0. Supposedly the US, it's difficult to do without like renouncing citizenship to do the whole full bore thing. That's like 0. I'm not a tax expert in the slightest. All I know is the model I did was go there and pay 4% tax, and then plus my fees of like licensing and fine, whatever, like all the just random fees and CPAs and things. So take home taxes. So you could have two partners where one lives in Puerto Rico and one lives in the States, and the differences there are vast on what they take home, because someone could pay 40% tax, someone could pay 4% tax. And again, fees and stuff, but like just quick call it that. So like if there was $2 million in profit and you had 250 and the partners were 50-50, each one would get $1 million to the top line of their thing. Then after that, one would walk with rough numbers, but 600K, and the other would walk with like 900K, right? So like vastly different on how you decide to then handle things personally and thereafter. And I'll quick run through these because then all these are personal. Lifestyle. So like in my example, it was like, oh cool, I get to keep that extra, that 30% spread, call it, over that time that I lived there. But then lifestyle wise, it's just like what you want to do. So like lifestyle could be as simple as like, no, this is how I want to live my life. So like, what are you keeping after your life? So your cars, your trips, your whatever. You live like a degen and you're an idiot and you go to the casino and you go to Vegas all the time and you get bottle service and you lose shit and you do whatever. Like I need to make a video on this one day, but like you can burn cash. So again, you have your two people. They both just paid taxes. One kept more, one didn't. One lives like a simple, meager lifestyle. Hormozy always talks about this, like being strategic and like, driving whatever car and like who gives a shit, just like play the game. But the flashy shit and the whatever and the losing stuff and the drunk and the what, like you add those in there and it's like, oh cool, you guys are back now to the same number. So lifestyle's a big one, and it also affects the work side of things, but don't need to get too into that. And then investments, other sources. I just thought this was funny because it's like, okay, you just brought home $1 million. You can pretty easily turn that into 1.1 if you just don't touch it. And the other, after lifestyle, let's call it, but like you also can nuke it in half if you're doing any of the crypto stuff, me included. You can also nuke it and cut it completely in half. So let's get into some real numbers here. So I think I might just have to delete this whole thing so you guys can see it, but all right. Valuation. Right now, we're like $12 is a joke, but like it's like $12. Like we're right now, as you see, if you watch any of these videos in the past, like we hit 30 million. We're down right now to like 1.6 to 2, depending on the month right now, which is not good for us. The profit on that is not good because the team is so big, which is not good. So we're scaling back up, but like from going down, from not having MRR, from not having proper structures, from key man risk, from like all these different pieces, like there's no value. Like there's people in the space who, yes, I guess who would buy us. And the most valuable thing is our like brand and the customer list and like data more so than it is the actual operating model. And like, that's on us. So like I said earlier, there's like 92 things we have to change: acquisition structure, the key risk on one traffic source, one offer, like just all of those things are not good. So we are actively working on these to be transparent, but like $12 is a joke. Revenue, I don't have this number quick, and I just want to make this video quick this morning, but on the 70 million that we've cash collected, which this is legit, this is actually like 70, let me do an exact quote. It is 70, Stripe's being slow. So yeah, like revenue as 72 million, for example, on, for us, all time, 70.97 million in cash collected. So this is whatever, this 79.97. So revenue, we don't have a ton of pay plans right now. Like we do. And then we also have active clients that are going to renew, but you don't count that as anything on here. It's like, that's future potential cash collected, or future potential even like revenue. Like it's just not even on there. So 70 million on that. Like I said, now I start to just get into like rough numbers on purpose and not even accurate numbers. And I'll show you where, because I don't want, this is not mine to share, of other partners and like incomes and stuff. So of that, again, this is across all time, not monthly, not whatever, but like net cash collected on that based on fees and refunds and whatever, call it 65 million, could be even lower depending on your fees and refund structure. Gross profit on that, say you're paying 20%, you have an info product that's a course login or whatever, it's like basically the same number because there's no fulfillment costs other than a community manager and some stuff. You have a coaching team, you have a physical product, you have like any of that stuff, like this number flies down. On that net income, say ads, everything else that like funnels in there, let's just say, these are all like hypothetical now, 15 million in net income, okay, across however many years in range. Partners, in this example, I'm saying, okay, if you had two partners, so 50-50, they both hit 7.5, take home, this is, 30% roughly, someone would take home 5 million, right? In this example. Lifestyle, they spent $1 million, they've got, 4 million after that, and that's not that hard to do. Spend $1 million. I'm not saying you should do it, because it's also easy to spend 100 grand, but it's also easy to spend $1 million if you're dumb. I have been dumb. And then investments, this is just kind of a joke, but like you could cut it in half real quick with crypto or something. And then you can also just like steadily grow it. You can buy real estate, you can do all the right things. So that's just a quick gist of like what people say and what they mean. There's a lot of real guys in the space, like the Imans and the Hormozis and whatever, that like actually talk about these things in detail. And there's only so much that's verifiable, I'm sure, but like they talk about it in the right way, or the way that I view it as the right way. That's just like legit versus like, we did 5 million last month and 3 million of it's pay plans or not even legit, or it's an affiliate that gets 100% commission on the front end, which is 3 million of it. Like there's just all these different things. So yeah, that's today's video. Yesterday's stats, let's get into it. We did 735 leads on our VSL call funnel for our women's fitness company, 173 apps, 88 calls booked on day, 5 new units. Not good for us, not good at all. We need this number to be like 10%, like basically at minimum to scale harder. So it should be 8 to 9 on here, and we didn't do that. 61 low ticket buyers. We're selling low ticket right now. That's scaling into or ascending into high ticket backend. 61 units, which is higher for us. I think our record's 63. So we're already on track this morning. It's like 6:30 in the morning, but looks like we're going to beat our all-time record today. Cash collected 41 grand. Not good. That's 1.2 million a year average, or I'm sorry, 1.2 million a month average, which is not good. At 1.2, we are breaking even / losing money. So we are in like rebuild mode hard, still have been. It's kind of funny, but like since I've been making these videos, we've basically been in that train, and I'm just excited to be able to look back and be like, oh wow, yeah, like thankfully we were there. So careful who you listen to. Don't listen to me when it comes to, these guys do 80% margins and whatever. Like, I'm just sharing what we've done, sharing where we're at raw, and hopes to be in these videos being like, okay, cool. Now we're back to 100K a day, easy. Then we're up to 200, then we're up to 300. Like that's the goal here. And I don't know how long it's going to take, but I'm going to try and do it quick and correct. All right. So Instagram for communication, follow, message, anything, any feedback you have, comments below, the shares, the likes, they help the algo. I see that when you guys like and share on these, they do perform better. So talk soon.